Shauna lives in Reno, Nevada, and probably became addicted to sugar on the day she was born. Literally. As a chunky child, she found comfort and companionship from food. Okay, is this better? I got to tip it up, I guess. As an emotional eater, she tried dozens of diets, but never saw lasting, sustainable results or peace until January 2017, when she tried Bright Line Eating and did the 14-day challenge. The results were nothing short of a miracle. When the food chatter stopped completely, she was honored to work directly with Susan Pierce Thompson during her maintenance and considers this opportunity an absolute miracle. She has maintained her 125-pound weight loss since July 2017. Is it not working at all? Is that better? All right. I guess you don't need to see my lips. Okay, so she has maintained her 125-pound weight loss since July 2017 and loves how automaticity, food prep, community, and guiding others help sustain her solid program. Shauna will be teaching the maintenance transition, how to land your plane. Okay, so really quick, I want to know in here, how many of you have had Shauna touch your life or your journey? Whether it's sponsoring, whether it's listening to her on the calls. Okay, you guys, I am right there with you. Dang it. Shauna already knows how I feel about her, but she has immensely touched my life with Bright Line Eating. And I'm so grateful for her and for what she has brought to our program and our community, from people who hear on the roundtable or get feedback or have been guided by her through maintenance or just through their plan, through the comments that we see on all the different Facebook groups. We're just so appreciative of Shauna and what she has experienced and what she has taught all of us. And we're here to gain more knowledge from her to take into our program and move forward in our maintenance. So let's give the time over to Shauna.
All right, can you hear me okay? All right, so this is one of those times in your life when, so my friend Bridget asked me today, what are you looking forward to the most? And I said, after it's over. So, all right, we're gonna talk about maintenance. So by the raise of hands, I would like to know how many of you, when you have flown on a plane and the captain comes on and says, to all of our passengers, we are not granted the opportunity to land the plane. We will circle for a couple of days. And keep circling and circle, and you will have a birthday celebration in a year as you circle the plane. How many of you get excited about that announcement by the pilot? We're just gonna circle. We're never landing the plane. We're just gonna keep circling. So on the first day that we did Bright Line Eating, how many of you were like, I am so tired of doing yo-yo dieting? Yeah. None of us want to just circle the plane, you know, circle the airport and never land the plane. None of us want to keep yo-yo dieting. It is torture. It is hard. We just can't keep doing that. And so Bright Line Eating is that wonderful opportunity that we finally get to land the plane and land it and get off that plane and go live our lives, okay? So we're gonna discuss a couple of things that are gonna help you. So I started my Bright Line journey at about 259 pounds, and that was the recorded weight. I could have gone more, I don't know, I'm not sure. But so I started Bright Line Eating in January of 2017, and I actually started at 205 pounds because I've been doing some addiction recovery work, and I lost a little bit of weight. But when I started Bright Line Eating, I was 205, and I was able to get to goal in July of 2017. This is my sweet family. That my husband loved me fluffy just as much as he loves me not fluffy. So I was always so grateful to have a husband that he was blind to size. He just didn't care about size. So he has learned to not compliment me about my weight loss any more than he would compliment me on my weight gain, because either way is a double-edged sword. It was kind of one of those things where if he like, boy, you look great, I'd be like, well, didn't I look good at 259? And you know, so he's kind of jinxed no matter what. But they are my pride and joy. So I had the rare opportunity of the stars aligning, and I was on the day that Susan launched her book of March 21st of 2017, I got a random phone call and she selected me to coach. And I told her, I said, I'm good. I'm just doing the 14-day challenge over and over again. And so I really didn't feel like I needed her. I said, give it to somebody that really needs it. So anyway, she said, well, tell you what, when you get to goal, you call me. So on July 1st, I called to her and I said, I don't know if you even remember me. And she says, yeah, you're the one that pretty much didn't even want to be coached. So anyway, I said, yeah, what do I do? And so I had the wonderful opportunity of being coached by Susan Pierce Thompson and saying goodbye to my 26W pants that that I swore I never wanted to see again. I really wanted to just burn these things, but it was a blessing in disguise that I kept them. Anyway, she has been such a joy in my life, and I'm really grateful for her example. I don't know, is this not advancing? It was. All right. Let's do this. So if you plan on following the Bright Line Eating Plan as outlined, the Just Follow the Fabulous Plan, then plan on maintenance becoming a reality. This was a new concept to me. I don't know about you guys, but I had never thought. I thought, oh, if I can just get it down a few sizes, if I can just fit into maybe a size 18 or 16 pair of pants, I would be so happy. Little did I know that we would actually, and this is crazy, look at this statistic. I don't know if my clicker is fighting me. Is it me? Okay, get a load of this. Oh, wait. Okay, this is a quote from Susan Pierce Thompson that was on a blog in 2021, about a year ago. Oh, nope, who's driving? So this is amazing. She said, it's exceedingly rare out there in the real world for those that don't do Bright Line Eating to achieve their right size body. It's like only 1 in 124 average women that are in a class 1 obesity will get their normal BMI in 1 year. What that says right there is 1 person in 124 that are about 30 to 35 pounds overweight. We're not talking big numbers. We're talking just about 30 pounds, will get into their right size body in 1 year. But here in Bright Line Eating, the odds are 55 times greater than that. It's approximately 1 in 3 women will get into their normal BMI and right size body here in Bright Line Eating in less than a year. Wow. So if you were told you could do Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, and you could possibly be the 1 in 121, or you could do Bright Line Eating and be 1 in 3 that gets into your goal body in 1 year. I don't know about you. I do live in Reno, Nevada. So, you know, gambling is part of our lifestyle, but I don't want to gamble with that. That is just ridiculous. So a lot of people say, how do I know? How do I know if I'm approaching maintenance? And that is a loaded question because we aren't cookie cutter people. Some of us are very athletic. Some of us are very muscular. Some of us are pear-shaped. Some of us are hourglass. You know, it just, our maintenance range is so different for every single one of us. And but we have a little toolbox. We have a Bright Line Eating toolbox that I want to go over with you because we all have these. The most common ones are the French formula and the Furman formula. Now, this was pretty much the rule of thumb back in 2017, where the French formula was for every female that's 5 feet, then it's 100 pounds, and each additional inch is 5 pounds. For men, it's a little bit more, 106 and 6 pounds. The Furman formula is even lower. So if you're a female that's 5 feet tall, 95 pounds. Every additional inch is 4 pounds. And then a male is 100 pounds for the first 5 feet and then 5 pounds after. But it doesn't take into account your muscle mass. It doesn't take into account your skin, your excess skin. So some of the other things that we get to use in determining if we're getting near our goal range is our clothes size. We can remember that, you know what, I felt really good when I was in this size shirt or this size pair of pants. Or have any of you done a DEXA scan or a body scan? It's kind of interesting. You learn about your bone mass, you learn about your fat mass, you learn about things that you can't see outside that may be contributing to whether you are near your goal range. There's also the BMI, right? So the average BMI is 18.5 to 24.9. That's what they deem a normal BMI. But once again, it doesn't take into account muscle mass. So then we also have how much skin do we have? If you come from big numbers, there's a good chance that you've got some excess skin on you, which needs to be taken into consideration, because guess what? That excess skin, it doesn't evaporate. It reduces, but it usually doesn't go away. So if you're thinking that you got another 15 pounds to lose because you got a little bit of junk in your trunk, you may not need to, because it's not going to go away. It's probably going to pull from your chest. So anyway, a previous size, maybe you think, oh, I remember when I was married and I remember I was this size and I really felt good. And so you can pull from that. I didn't have that opportunity. I didn't know what a right size body looked like. I had no clue. As I would go to the checkout stand and I would get these Woman Day magazines, and it would say, envision your beautiful body. And I'd be like, I have no clue what my beautiful body looks like. But I knew that I loved myself fluffy. I just didn't know what thinner looked like, and I couldn't envision it. It just wasn't on my radar at all. The other thing to do, another way to determine if we're in our goal range, is Susan encourages us to kind of think about what is our general goal range. Where do you see yourself? And set a first goal range. Set a range that you think is doable, attainable, nothing too extreme. Believe me, I never could have dreamed that I would have lost 125 pounds. I would have been happy with just even 20 at that point. I just needed my pants to zip up to go to work. The body scale, stepping on the scale and actually seeing a number is a rule that some people live by. Sometimes it crosses the boundaries though, and it goes to an extreme where if that number doesn't show the right number, then their whole day is shot. And so you got to be very selective with how you use that one, because you don't want the scale to rule you. You can be in your right size body, or you're getting close to your maintenance range when your clothes just hang right and you aren't tugging and fussing and you aren't like jiggling and wondering how everything's fitting. So that's a good rule of thumb. And the wrist measurement, the one where you take your middle finger and your thumb, you put it across the biggest bone of your wrist, and if there's a gap, you are large boned. If it touches or is close to touching, more than likely you're a medium. And if your nail overlaps in any way, you're small boned. Okay, so that's a really helpful rule of thumb. And then asking a trusted loved, this one's dangerous. Asking a trusted loved one, what do you think? Do you think I need to lose another 5 pounds? So you gotta be really thick-skinned if you're gonna ask that question. So, and make sure that it's somebody that isn't trying to sabotage you and really honors where you are without being hurtful or mean. But the number one way to know if you are near your maintenance range is the hunger that is prevalent, that is undeniable. So we're told that hunger is generally a clear sign that there is less adipose tissue available to burn, which indicates that you're nearing your goal range. Your body will demand more food in the form of breaks, sloppy lines, food chatter. So think about this for a minute. So when Susan gives the analogy of running up those stairs and holding your breath, you can probably do it for a certain amount of time, but then your body's just going to say, I can't, and you've got to breathe. It's the same with your food. If you are getting to the point where there's not enough adipose tissue and you have not enough to burn, and your body is saying, I give, you win, and we're going to eat, and we're going to go over quantities, we're going to have food chatter, my lines are going to be sloppy, I'm going to eat what I darn well want to eat. And that is a sign. If you start getting close to landing that plane, but then all of a sudden you break, and then you break again, and you break again, chances are you are needing to do one of these few things. So she says that starvation brain, she has termed it starvation brain when that starts to happen. Can I eat now? What about now? Is it time to eat now? Oh man, it's not time to eat now. And you literally are like going through this. So ways to treat starvation brain. 1, find out if you are medically sound. Make sure that you aren't having thyroid problems. Make sure that your sleep, that you're getting enough sleep, that you don't have sleep apnea. Make sure that your adrenals are working. Make sure that there isn't physically something wrong with you. This is especially important, guys, when you have still a lot of weight to lose and you are feeling that starvation brain. That is something usually indicating something is wrong. The next thing to do is to simplify your food. Eliminate the sexy, eliminate the processed, eliminate the, do less condiments, more steamed veggies. Do things to make your food less of a party in your mouth. And if that doesn't work, add some more protein. You've heard Susan mention a lot about adding protein powder, that sometimes it's better to add protein powder, which is low in calories, but high in protein to satisfy what your body is craving, rather than to keep adding pork chops and, T-bone steaks and stuff. And then if the first 3 do not work and you are still binging, you are still breaking, you are still having a hard time keeping bright, then what you need to do is consider a 4th meal, a little meal, something like 4 ounces of vegetables and 2 ounces of protein. Something just to kind of get you through so you aren't breaking, something your body can predict, something that you can actually, your body can say, okay, all right, we don't need to panic. We're getting a little more food. And then just see how that works with the starvation brain. Oh dear, here we go. All right, so a lot of times people will call in, they'll say, Shauna, I think I am about ready to start maintenance. What can I start eating? What can I add? And I say, oh, honey, that is the last thing I'm going to ask you. Okay, we aren't going to talk about food. There's more we're going to talk about. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, where is your range? What are you thinking in terms of your range? Are you near there, or are you still a ways away? The next thing is, have you tracked your weight consistently, weekly, monthly? That information is gold. It is gold to have a graph or some sort of a record to show I'm a fast loser, I'm a slow loser. Knowing the rate of your weight loss is critical to landing the plane, because we don't know how much food to throw at you just because you've been bright for a few weeks, whereas you've had BLE with breaks the whole time, and then all of a sudden you're bright and you have a whoosh, and then we're throwing food at you to try and keep things from going too low. The next thing is, how tall are you? Obviously your height plays into it, okay? So the smaller that you are, the less you're gonna weigh. The taller you are, the more you get to weigh. And then we have, what is your highest weight? If you came from big numbers, we need to know that. That actually plays into how you land your plane, how you decide your maintenance range. Is if you had, 100 or more pounds to lose versus just a few pounds, we want to know that, because sometimes your weight loss is your maintenance. And so all of that plays into when somebody is curious about if they're ready to add food. How much hunger are you experiencing in between meals? Are you noticing more hunger, between breakfast and lunch, lunch and dinner, or breakfast, are you ready to chew on the doorknob? All those things. How much hunger are you experiencing? And what's your bone structure? Just like we were talking about with the wrist measurement, small, medium, large. All that needs to go into there's a lot to landing this plane. Do you carry most of your weight on your bottom or your top? Believe it or not, if you carry it on your bottom, you get a little more, weight that you get to carry. And it's just kind of how it is. So as far as the excess skin, we talked about this, that if your skin is excess, it's not going to go, it will decrease, but it's not going to evaporate. And, you can certainly exercise and do some toning, but skin just, Yeah, it's just there. How bright have you been in the last 3 months? So be prepared. If you come to me for coaching, I'm going to ask you, how bright have you been for the last 3 months? When are you the most hungry? You know, are you recognizing it more consistently, or like after you've just worked out? When is that hunger manifesting itself? And if you're eating more processed, calorie-dense food, are you seeing results? Because let me make this clear. Nuts and nut butters and cheese and hummus, they are not the enemy unless you are at a standstill. If you are at a standstill and you are just hovering that airport, never landing, then you need to consider whether those are your friend or not. And then, you know, do you have somebody to help you through your maintenance? Do you have somebody that can coach you through that? Because maintenance was never meant for one brain. It takes 2 brains to do maintenance. Otherwise, we rationalize and we justify and we tell ourselves, you know what? I'm still losing weight, even though I've added food. Oh my goodness, that must mean I'm a normal eater again. I must have healed myself. There must have been a miracle and I no longer crave food. And your brain will tell you things that you have no right listening to. And so you need a second brain, I am telling you. So find somebody that's been in maintenance that actually has done it a consistent amount of time and been successful. So 6 tips to help you have your bright line body forever, because we don't want to keep circling that airport. We want to land that plane, and we don't want to keep yo-yoing. That's just mean. We love ourselves more than that. So we've heard this a lot today about just follow the fabulous plan. What is the fabulous plan? Well, it's pretty simple. It's no flour, it's no sugar, it's 3 meals, weighed and measured a day. And if you do those things consistently and you are not landing the plane, then that is rare. That is rare. And I'm not going to say it's impossible and it's unheard of, but it is rare. And so I would just encourage you to definitely think about, where can I clean up my lines? What is not serving me? What am I thinking that, you know, I hear works for other people, but oh, it just sounds too hard. It just sounds too hard. A good example of that was when I was being guided by Susan Pierce Thompson. She suggested, I was having bites, licks, and tastes. I was feeling very much like, oh, I've already weighed it. I can certainly eat it. It's BLE compliant. And she challenged me to get a calendar and to put stickers on it for every day that I didn't have a BLT. And then she challenged me to do something that I thought, oh, don't ask me to do that. And that was to prepare my food the night before, or as much of it as I could. And so I started to do that, and it was weird. It was kind of like walking, you know, with my shoes on the wrong feet for a few days, because it was like, oh goodness, I don't know what I'm going to have for dinner. But once I got into that groove, it picked up momentum so that now I know 7 days in advance what I'm having for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's prepared. And it's not part of the fabulous plan, but I feel like it is for me. I feel like having my food weighed, measured, and prepared in advance is my fabulous plan. So you can find out what your fabulous plan is also. Automaticity. Oh my goodness, if you are fighting automaticity, if you are fighting how to do your food prep, if you are fighting how to do your morning habit stack, if you are fighting any of the things that we're told supports us, then please consider embracing automaticity as a gift. And your identity. We heard this from Erin today, that your identity as a bright line eater is paramount, because guys, I'll tell you, we are always going to be kind of the odd duck in the room when we show up with our little prepared meal and they're like, what? We got food. And you're like, I know, I just brought my own. And they'll be like, well, what's wrong with our food? I know, I do better when I eat my food. We're always going to feel like the spotlight is right on us. Like, you are weird, you are picky, you know, and embrace it. Embrace it like you would a life jacket, you know, in the middle of the ocean. after you're capsized. And you're just gonna be like, this is who I am. This is what I want more than anything. Surrender to the thought that this is not a diet. There are people in our Brightline community that can do this as a diet. They have a daughter's wedding coming up and they want to get a little lower. There are men that just want to, you know, not have the belt buckle expanded one more notch. And they can do it. They can do it for a few weeks and they can get down. But the sustainability is really rare. It's really rare that you can sustain it year after year after year, unless you are surrendering to the thought of, this is how I eat. This is, you know, you don't see vegan people declaring, oh, I'm a vegan, and then they go out and, you know, they're eating a kielbasa, you know, they claim it and they own it and they make it work for them. And then be patient with your beautiful body. Just be patient. Our bodies, we can't control our bodies any more than I can control my kidney function, the color of my eyes, my blood type. We own it. We love our bodies. Our bodies are a gift. We truly do not appreciate our bodies enough. And so as we think about being at goal the rest of our life, these are some of the things that actually help us stick that identity and claim it. And then of course, the last one is one that a lot of people don't fully understand. They think that once they get down to maintenance, then they can be a normal eater again, and they can start having the wedding cake at the wedding or the baby shower and start making a few exceptions. The truth is that these 4 questions they should be engraved on your hand if you are going to do that. You need to make sure that you are asking, will this bring me peace? Is it healthy? Is it messing with my weight? And is it escalating? And a good example was I had a dear friend that went to Hawaii and she was going to go to the Dole factory. And she was going to be taking some samples of the pineapple. And she said, what do I do? I mean, you know, you only go to Hawaii so often. What do you do with the Dole pineapple? And so I told her, I said, you can use these 4 questions and you can bookend. You can say, guys, I'm going to be going to the Dole factory, you know, the Dole farm. I don't know what it is. Plantation, thank you. And I'm going to have a sample of pineapple. And then I'm going to not have anything more. So did she have peace? Yes. Was it healthy? Yes. Is it going to mess with her weight? No. A sample of pineapple. Is it escalating? I don't know. If she then goes and does the coconut farm, and then she goes and does the macadamia nut farm, and then before you know it, she's having crackers and cheese, and you know, then I would say probably not a good idea. But those will be your North Star. Those will be what guide you to know if you can do a little deviation and still be successful. So what if you've gotten to your goal and then you kind of do the weight creep and you start going up a little bit? Maybe you've got 10 pounds. So do not, and I stress this, do not go back on weight loss unless you have 20 pounds or more. 20 pounds. We don't want to deprive ourselves. We don't want to punish ourselves. If we go back on weight loss, we're like, shame on you. You gained weight. That is not right. But if you're about 10 pounds away, you can just go ahead and you can just shave a little off of your last ad and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. It'll coast down and just be very, very bright. So if you are 20 pounds over, then that's going to be something that these next few things are going to help you. So once again, eliminate the nuts, the nut butters, the starchy veggies, the processed food for 2 weeks, and make sure that you're not having those, because those will put the brake on your weight loss. And then if the scale goes up for 3 weeks, shave off half of your last added component and wait a week, and just keep shaving a little bit. But don't go clear back to weight loss unless you're a very tiny person, a short statured person, and your weight loss was your maintenance. And so that may be something to consider. But be very vigilant with not having bites, licks, and tastes. Okay, so on page 251 of the Bright Line Eating book, okay, this is really cool. She actually walks you through avoid starchy veggies, fatty proteins. This is a dagger in the heart. She said, then wait 2 weeks. Then if that doesn't work, replace your fruit with steamed veggies, 6 ounces. If that doesn't work, wait 2 weeks, and then reduce your lunch and your fat, or your lunch and dinner fats by 1 teaspoon. Then if that doesn't work, reduce your proteins. And then as you get to your goal range, then start adding back, okay? So maintenance, I almost didn't put this slide up because maintenance feels different to everyone. But I will tell you, it has been my experience that the people that I guide, if they have a horrific weight loss, they will have a struggle with their maintenance. We get happy in the same pants we got sad in. So if you feel like your weight loss was just white knuckling it, welcome to maintenance. That's going to be a tough one. So you need an identity shift. It's always easier to make a decision once, always make a decision just once instead of reevaluating it every single meal. Is this the day? Is this what I'm going to do? There are so many ways that we can land this plane, but it really does depend upon what each of us, our mental frame is. If we want it to be hard, it can be hard. Don't worry, it can be hard. If we want it to be easy, we can make it fun, we can make it doable, and we can actually have that opportunity to land that plane and do it forever and never yo-yo again. I know it's possible. So right now, I want to have you guys think of some questions that maybe I can help you with. I don't have all the answers, but within this room is a wealth of knowledge. So if I don't have the answer, there's others that can certainly answer. So any questions about maintenance? Anyone struggling with their maintenance? Anyone think that they can't get to maintenance? Yes.
Oh, you said everyone's struggling.
Oh.
So I think I did because I've lost my weight 4 times now.
Okay.
And I've gained it back 3. So I finally added grain. So I
I don't know how that works.
I've lost my weight 3 times on Bright Line Eating and regained it 3 times. And now I'm down again. I'm within 10 pounds of what I was hoping would be my goal range. And I've made an ad, but I'm still kind of really fuzzy. Like I'm still just kind of all over the place. And that's where I'm at.
Okay.
And I don't know if grain is the first ad I should have made. I think that is my question.
So that's a really good question because that's what we're guided to do. That's the first thing that we're told to add. And yet you will find that sometimes the grain at lunch is not the best fit for you. Sometimes what you need is to front load your food so that you have more protein at breakfast so that then you can really go into your day feeling really satisfied and good. So do you notice, have you felt where your hunger level is during?
I don't really experience a lot of hunger. My meals are like all over the place. My husband works a really crazy schedule. And so like some days I don't get breakfast till 1 in the afternoon. Some days I eat it at 9 and then don't get lunch until 3 or 4.
Okay.
You know, I'm just really.
So how far are you from your goal range?
Okay, I don't know that I have a goal range. I had a goal. I'm 10 pounds from my goal.
Okay, but you aren't having any hunger.
Not really, no. Since
Okay.
I made the ad. But I do get really fatigued. Like if I miss breakfast and it's noon, like I'm like, can't even think and can't even function.
Okay, so you are exhibiting a little bit of the starvation brain thing. So you are having hunger then, if your thoughts are scattered and you're feeling kind of distracted. So what you may, and did you say that's before lunch that you, or between breakfast and lunch that you feel that way?
It's usually when I haven't had breakfast and it is lunchtime.
Well, what a concept.
Right?
Wow. So yeah, you may want to have your 3 meals.
Well, I do eventually.
Bless your heart. Yeah. So there's a BLE 101 class that's going to be, but it, you know, so to try and have your meals as consistently as you can so that your body can then predict, Okay, we only have about half an hour left before our next meal. We can do this. And just try and be as consistent as you can. That automaticity is really important, not only in the amount that you're eating, but in the time frame that you're eating. So do you, is your life kind of okay? Yeah. So yeah, you're just going to have to do the best that you can, and just plan that your meals are going to be, at least your breakfast is going to be no later than here. Your lunch is going to be no later than there, and your dinner is going to be no later. So don't put like 9 o'clock, noon, 4, but just have a bigger window, but don't let it go beyond that, and see how that helps you. Because the more your body can trust that it's going to get a certain amount, it will start to release and it will start to trust. But if you're not experiencing hunger, you may only want to do 2 ounces of your grain for a while. Yeah. Was there a question over here? Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Hi, I have a two-part question. I'm within about 3 pounds of my initial goal weight, but now, I mean, I still have the gut, and I'm thinking, well, maybe it's more like 10 pounds. So my first part of the question is, do I go for that or if I try that, am I going to just lose more weight in my face and look more gaunt than I do? The second part is that I've had bariatric surgery, so I can only eat a limited amount. I can't even eat all of the amount of vegetables, whatever. So I'm looking at adding the grain, and it's like, I don't think I can eat 4 ounces of grain. I may be able to do 2 ounces of protein, but maybe a fat might be more doable. So my question is, how do we adjust this maintenance thing for bariatric folks?
Yeah, where is your hunger?
Hunger is pretty much fine, just a little bit, before lunch, a little bit before dinner, but it's not like an overwhelming hunger
Okay.
yet. So,
And you're 3 pounds away from your first goal range,
Yeah.
about?
Yes.
Okay, you may be one of these that you're better off adding 2 ounces of protein to one of your meals, where you literally, unless you're feeling really hungry, you may do better with just half adds instead of full adds. And
Yeah.
see if your body coasts down those 3 pounds, and then you get to reevaluate. That's the beauty. Nothing's written in stone in Bright Line Eating. So if you get to that one range, you can always reevaluate and go lower. But with the bariatric, obviously the veggies are going to be a little harder, probably. So I would think maybe some protein might be an option for you.
okay.
Or fat. That's true, because the fat doesn't take up the
I
room.
did think about fat because it's only like an ounce of fat versus.
Yeah.
I think that's more.
Thank you. Yes. She does coach. Beth Monroe. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Colleen. Yeah. So find somebody that has been down the road a little ways more than you. Yes. Well, just be patient. Be patient. Was there another? Okay, Valerie. That's true, but she's already reduced. Yeah, thank you, Valerie. Yes. Yeah, so how tall are you? Okay, so a lot of times what happens is that when you are tinier and your lines are super, super clean and you haven't had any BLTs and, and it's just not going anywhere, but you still want to lose some weight? Okay. That, so here's the good news, is that you are perfectly normal. There is nothing wrong or unique about you, because that is exactly why you need a maintenance coach. You need somebody that when you start adding that food and that food starts to feel like, oh my gosh, I get more. And then before you know it, you're breaking. And then you're, you know, that's why a maintenance coach is so helpful, to be able to be accountable and to also guide you as to where the best ad would be. And especially if you are, you know, if you're not feeling hunger and hunger is not an emergency, you may just need to make sure your lines are super bright, because that is data that can go into adding food later down the road. So yeah, but definitely get a guide. Yeah. Okay, yes. Sure. Yeah. Oh, okay, yes. So, so we had a wonderful question about, in terms of weight loss for smaller people, how do I know if my weight loss is my maintenance? And then we had a question, and I encouraged her to have a maintenance coach. And then we had a wonderful question about how to fast for religious purposes, right? For religious purposes. So everybody does it differently, everybody. But the way that I have been able to do it for 5 years is that I give up 2 meals. I give up my breakfast and my lunch. And then for dinner, I have a regular weight loss, you know, my protein, my veggies, but then I add a grain and a fruit to my dinner. And that's my fast. Yeah. So what if, she's asking in terms of fasting, you know, how do we kind of front load that? There are people that will eat a full maintenance meal before the fast and then have a regular weight loss meal at the end. There's also, I will tell you, sometimes fasting is very triggering to some people. And what I'm about to tell you may make you feel like, can I do this? But just give up your fruit for breakfast and lunch. Have everything else the same and declare that your fast. Okay? Because sometimes we got to ease into fasting. Sometimes it's just too hard. So if we give up our fruit we're kind of in love with our fruit. So if you give it up for, and maybe it's just going 3 ounces. Give up 3 ounces of your breakfast fruit. Maybe that's going to be your fast, you know? So they would, if they're on weight loss, they're going to have a grain and a fruit the night before their fast. And then they're going to not have breakfast and lunch. And then the day they break their fast, they will then go ahead and have just a regular weight loss dinner. Yeah. Yes, Darla.
I want to know, how did you get over the resistance of preparing your food ahead?
Yeah. So how did I get over the resistance of preparing my food ahead? I did something incredible, and that was I just did it. I just did it. I stood at that counter and I thought, this is insane. I am not going to do this. But I fixed my breakfast and my lunch and my dinner the next day, and it just needed to be warmed up. And then I was like, wow, that was pretty cool, because I just opened up a whole lot of space the next day. Then I did it again. And then I did it again. And now wild horses couldn't make me change that. It is such a joy in my life. When everything in my life is going topsy-turvy and wild and crazy, my food is there in the refrigerator waiting for me. And it is a gift I give myself. Okay, I think we have one more question. Okay, one more question. Okay.
So when you've already made an ad, the first ad I made, I lost some. So the next week I added a half a protein, but I bumped up, and I have just been up. I haven't gone back down, and it's been 4 weeks.
Okay.
How do I know when to take that back out or shave some of that off for the weight to start dropping?
Such a great question, because we want to see that bump up. That means that it's working. That means that you have added something that your body is recognizing as new. So we want to see that bump up. And we only really address it after 3 weeks. So the first week it's up, second week it's still up, Third week, it's still up. That fourth week, then it's a plateau. And then that's when we start shaving a little bit off, just like on page 251 of the Bright Line Eating book. We're going to start doing those little tiny steps, and we wait 2 weeks, and then we shave a little off. And then, you know, so she says, replace your fruit for the vegetables. So eliminate the fruit for breakfast and lunch and go to veggies. Wait 2 weeks. If that doesn't work, then you're going to reduce your fat. Then you're going to reduce your protein.
So
So
I wouldn't take that add back out. I would make those other adjustments.
yeah, so just shave a little bit off. And then, well, you could actually you could do half of your last ad and just shave that off and see how that works, but give it at least 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, the closing thought I wanted to leave with you is this is my favorite quote of all in the Bright Line Eating book. Essentially, you have two choices. Number one, stick with the plan and enjoy your new life. Oh, don't you just love that? Or try an experiment by deviating from the plan and see what happens for yourself. I just see her writing this in the back seat of her car, you know, and typing it up on their family road trip and saying, listen, you've got a choice. You can either do this and enjoy your new life, or you can deviate and experiment. And yeah, you just basically are going to see what happens. So ultimately, we don't want to keep circling that airport. We want to land that plane. Guys, life is short. Let's get off that plane. Let's go past the airport and start living that beautiful world that awaits us. All right? Good luck.